I'll promise to try to be a little bit brief. Can you show two videos? I want to show you two videos, and I'll tell you why I'm showing.
Israel is at war, an invasion by Hamas, the deadliest attack in that country's history.
The images that we're seeing, children kidnapped, it's horrifying.
Baby cribs thrown to the side, families completely cut down in their beds.
Like you, my heart breaks and my stomach churns as I watch this barbaric attack by Hamas on our friends in Israel. Children ripped from their parents, young people in the prime of their lives massacred, dozens of U.S. citizens killed and captured. Hamas and the Iranian Ayatollah are religious fanatics. We must stand with Israel in every way and protect ourselves, secure our border, upgrade our defenses. Here's how you can help. God bless.
Your generosity directly aids families, children, and the elderly in Israel. Act now and make a difference.
I'm Lindsay Graham, and I approve this message.
Citizen of Gaza, all this could have been yours. A paradise of sea and desert. In 2005, Israel left Gaza. We left you whole settlements, greenhouses, public buildings. Just take the keys and come. You received billions of dollars to start a new and good and independent life for your citizens. You were able to build cities for glory, with beautiful parks and great beaches. You could learn from us how to farm in the desert. We would help, support. We would work together for a common future. The borders with us and with Egypt were open. You could be a small and strong economic and touristic power. Singapore did it. Hong Kong did it. But you chose to direct the money for terrorism. Build a network of war tunnels. Planning terrorist attacks. Educate your children to kill. Fire missiles on our cities. Sending suicide bombers. Instead of helping your citizens build a life. You chose to kill innocent people. Murder elderly, children, babies. Kidnap, rape, burn. You brought the destruction of Gaza on yourselves. Instead of heaven. With your own hands. You created hell.
All right. So, here's my point. The bodies are not even buried in Israel, and the UN has called for a ceasefire. Did you hear what I just said? We cannot let this happen. Let me tell you when there will be a ceasefire. When Hamas ceases to exist. That's when there will be a ceasefire. The most tone-deaf organization in the history of the world is the United Nations. I don't want to hear any more stand with Israel. I want to hear stand with Israel without apology. We have nothing to apologize for. So the reason I played the videos is that we're going to be in a struggle to make sure Israel has the time and space to destroy Hamas. This is where the RJC becomes important. This is where all of us become important. I went to Israel the first time in 1995 with Sheldon and Miriam. And I got a very unbiased, balanced view of what Israel stands for. I didn't know what a Zionist was, but after the trip, I did. So Miriam, I want to thank you for all you've done for the state of Israel, for our country, we miss Sheldon. We love you. So, folks, the RJC was created for a moment like this. You're trying to elect Republicans, but that's not the job at hand in the short term. The job at hand is to make sure that we give voice to a cause that cannot be compromised. 3 goals: destroy Hamas, to make sure they never attack Israeli children again. Convince the world that Hamas is not helping the Palestinians. Hamas wants to kill the Jews. And if you don't believe me, listen to them. I ran the commercial tonight in South Carolina to remind people what happened on October the 7th, and to not let them forget who the bad guy is. Now, I'm a Baptist. There are a lot of us where I live. The strongest supporter of the state of Israel in the United States are evangelical Christians. We drink, but we lie about it, so that's the big difference. My dad had a liquor store, so I can tell you that for sure. So the main thing that you need to understand about people like me, what makes you who you are is what you learn as a child. Do you agree with that? How you're raised, what your values are. From the time I was this high, and I didn't get much taller, I'm right here now, I was told in my church that God blesses those who bless Israel. I was told in my church that the Jewish people were the chosen ones by God Almighty. Well, if it's good enough for God, it's good enough for me. And the reason that people are so supportive of Israel where I live is because how they get their news. If you went to college in this country, you would believe Israel's the bad guy, right? Because that's all you hear. If you got your news from the Bible, you would know Israel's the good guy. And that's where my people get their news. That and Mark Levine. You're somewhere in Revelations. I'm just not sure which horse you are. So, number one, the goal is to not let Biden get weak-kneed, to push back against the UN and any other force in American politics that wants to limit the operations that must occur to destroy Hamas. You cannot do this from the air. You can only destroy a terrorist organization by getting in on the ground, and that started tonight. So here's my belief. Whatever it takes, as long as it takes, is what Israel will be allowed to do. I'm urging the people here with means to create some commercials to brand Hamas as ISIS, because that's who they are. Most Americans understand what ISIS is up to. Most Americans understand what ISIS would do to their families if they could. What most Americans don't understand, Hamas is worse. I got back from Israel Tuesday. My body is somewhere over Iceland about right now. What I saw at the Ministry of Defense, I have not slept well since then. I saw things that I did not think were possible by any human being. I saw the Nazis were outdone by Hamas. Here's the difference. The Nazis tried to hide their crimes. Hamas wants you to see what they did. Why? To intimidate you. To destroy the reconciliation process between Saudi Arabia and Israel. I believe that with all my heart. That if you think Iran learned about the attack by Hamas from reading the newspaper or watching the TV, you should not be allowed to drive anywhere in America. There is no Hamas. There is no Hezbollah without Iran. Do you agree with that? The great Satan of the world is not Israel, it's not the United States, it's the Ayatollah in Iran. He's the great Satan. So I want to make sure that the American people know that Israel must destroy Hamas, and any effort to short of destruction would be a nightmare for America because they would kill everybody in this room if they could get here. We got to make it real to the American people that every group who wants to destroy Israel also wants to destroy you. We have a chance here to convince the American people that Iran is not a normal country. Do you think Iran is a normal country? We have an opportunity here to prove to the American people that Iran is the source of evil in the Mideast, that they do not seek peace, they seek destruction of the state of Israel. They seek to purify Islam in their own image and to come after the infidel. That's me. Iran, when this is over, should be seen by every American as the last group of people you'd want to give $1 to. Mark, we have a chance here to make it impossible for any president in the future to sit down with the Iranian Ayatollah and talk about giving them money. You know what I learned in South Carolina? My dad owned a liquor store, a beer joint, and a pool room. You know what I learned in the pool room? If somebody wants to cut your throat, do not buy them a knife. We have given billions of dollars to the Ayatollah to build up Hamas and Hezbollah. They have taken the pipes that were laid to provide water and sewage treatment for the Palestinian people in Gaza to make rockets out of the pipes. The first thing you got to understand in a negotiation is who is on the other side and what do they want. Can I give them some of the things they're asking for, in return get something that I want? That's called negotiation. You cannot give the person on the other side of the table anything when they want to kill you. You have to stop them before it's too late. I believe, why now? It's been planned, Mark, you're right, for a year or two, but why now? The nightmare for the Ayatollah, in my opinion, is for Saudi Arabia and Israel to reconcile, to build on the Abraham Accords that President Trump created, to have the Arab world move to the light with the one and only Jewish state leaving Iran behind. I think that's why this was done now, and I'm convinced it was done in such a brutal fashion to make sure Israel had to go in to Gaza. And the bet is that the world will turn on Israel pretty soon, and the clock will run out, and the end of Saudi-Israeli reconciliation will be upon us. That's what I believe. I want to make sure Iran loses. So here's what we got to do. I've been to Saudi Arabia 3 times in the last 90 days. I'm going back. I was pretty tough on the regime, pretty tough. They bought $38 billion of jets made by Boeing in South Carolina, and I was less tough. Why? Not because they bought the planes. Whether you believe it or not, I do. I think MBS, the Crown Prince, is trying to change his country. I think he's spending a lot of money to modernize Saudi Arabia. And I think he knows he'll never get his money back unless people see Saudi Arabia different than they do now. Does that make sense to you? So, Mark, this is important. I spent 3 hours with the man. And I said, thank you for buying the jets. Hope you buy some more. But the best thing you could do to change the image of your country is to seek peace with the state of Israel. That is the path we were on. The question, has this brutal, savage attack against the state of Israel destroyed the march to peace? I hope not. I hope that all the people that were killed did not die in vain. We owe it to them and their memory to make sure that Israel has the time and space to end the terror called Hamas. We owe it to them to convince the world that Iran is a regime made up of religious Nazis, not good people trying to seek a better life. We owe it to them to end the Arab-Israeli conflict and march the region toward the light. Here's the question for all of us. How can it be that within 80 years of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, that grandchildren of Holocaust survivors and Holocaust survivors themselves were killed by terrorists simply because they were Jewish? How can it be that we let that happen within one person's lifetime? There are people in Israel that survived the Holocaust that died at the hands of Hamas in Israel. Let me tell you how that can be. We're making the same mistakes in 2023 that we made in the 30s. That's exactly how this happened. We're all Republicans, and if you're not, you need to leave now. Our party needs to do some soul searching. If I hear any more the argument we can let Putin invade Ukraine and get away with it and it won't matter to us, that's bullshit. He will keep going until somebody stops him. And if you don't believe me, just listen to him. What I can't get over is after World War II, we don't understand that when people say death to America, death to Israel, they actually mean it. Hitler wrote a book, and nobody believed what he wrote. Look at what comes out of Iran every day, Mark. They mean this stuff. So wake up, America. Isolationism is a siren song that never works. Here's what I can tell you. When they're coming after the Jews in Germany, they're eventually going to come after you. When they kill somebody because of their faith, you're next. This is a lesson to be learned. You know why they give wars numbers? We make the same damn mistakes over and over. We can't afford to make any more mistakes. The state of Israel has its back against the wall. There's enough rocket power in the hands of Hezbollah to do great damage to the one and only Jewish state. So I want to, in case they're watching in Iran tonight, here's what I want you to know. If you escalate this conflict, unleash Hamas in the north on Israel, if you attack one more American, kill one American soldier, we're going to blow you off the map. We're going to destroy your oil fields. You will be out of the oil business. I pray that this nightmare in Iran ends. I pray for the destruction of this regime. I pray for the freedom that could be had by the Iranian people. I pray that the world will wake up and understand what's going on. They pulled a girl off a bus yesterday in Iran, 16 years old. She didn't have the right headscarf on. They beat her and she is brain dead. You want to give that guy money? I've been coming here a long time. and I will come back because it's fun. I've never been here at a more important moment than right now. We have a chance to change the course of history. If America does not change the way we look at the world will get worse. Isolationism and appeasement led us to this day. Not understanding that Hamas does not want a two-state solution, they want a one-state solution. I think for here on out, the people of Israel will never make that mistake again. Now I'm going to end with this. I got briefed by the defense minister, and there was a young guy who was a two-star general, and he watches Fox, so he knows me. And he said, Senator Graham, we failed. And he started crying, and I started crying. He's the IDF guy. We failed. I failed my people. I said, stop. You're not the only country to miss a threat. Pearl Harbor, 9/11. It happens. Here's what failing is. Not doing the right thing after you make a mistake. Here's the right thing to do. Kill every last one of them. That's what it takes to make Israel safe. That's what you need to do. That's what it takes. So I told this young man, you're not going to fail. America has your back. I took 10 United States senators to Israel this Tuesday. 5 R's and 5 D's. We're all Republicans here, but we need to be Americans now, right? We need to be good people, decent people. So tomorrow you're going to have a tough choice. The Republican Party has an embarrassment of riches. Miriam, we have so many good people running at the same time. Nikki Haley is from South Carolina. Tim Scott is from South Carolina. I am the squish in my state. I'm from South Carolina. We have a group of people seeking the Republican nomination that are unbelievably talented. Choose wisely. And we have Donald Trump. Who will be here tomorrow. He called me this morning and says, where are you? I said, I'm in Las Vegas. He says, I'm coming to Las Vegas. I said, I know. I want to say one thing about Trump. He's a handful. But all the bad guys are scared of him, and I'm glad of that. So, what happened with me and Trump? I was one of the 29 people that ran for president in 2016. If you don't remember that, it's not your fault. I didn't last very long. I hated Trump. I thought he was a complete asshole. So, I got to know the guy. We play a lot of golf together. I've actually come to like him. You know what we have in common? I like him and he likes him. It's good to laugh. You got great choices tomorrow. Our party is strong. Our party has a bright future. We have so many good young people wanting to be in the House and the Senate. I feel really good about 2024. We just got to turn out. We got to vote as quick as we can, as legally as often as you can, and win an election we can't afford to lose. But I want to leave here tonight with a thought. God has a vote in this. God has Israel's back. God bless you.